Getting old, guys. Can you believe I've been doing this for like half a decade? Alright, let's just roll the clip. Let's just get into it. The time has come. Kinda. It's no illusion that Odyssey is a pretty ambitious game. I didn't know what I'd be making when I just wanted to create a funny haha little JRPG type game, but building it from complete scratch has taught me that being this ambitious for a first-time developer was sort of a big mistake. That being said, what we've cooked up in the last 4 years has been spectacular, and I'm very happy to show it off to everybody. This video was supposed to go out before 2D-Con in Minnesota at the end of August this year, but I'm afraid I was too busy to dedicate the proper time to it, so now it's out late. This time I wanted to talk about something a lot different, which is the physical boxes and the physical media that I've started producing for the game now that we're sort of at the further end. The light on the end of the tunnel is becoming visible again. So, this video isn't going to be about stuff like digital store pages or stuff like capsule page art, but there may be some overlap. In all my devlogs, I try to make things applicable outside of the specific topic therein, so let's just get into it. To get started, the first step was designing poster art, which Odyssey has actually gone through several iterations of. These older posters were certainly unique and I think fairly interesting, but didn't really communicate much from the picture alone. Luckily, I've since created a pretty big backlog of artwork to choose from when building a new poster. Colors on your poster are very important. You need to identify what's going to make the images pop. For Odyssey, I've decided to play it extremely safe and pick the classic blue-orange combo. Blue-orange has been a staple of movie posters for a very long time, especially in the 2010s. And for pretty good reason. There's even plenty of games that use this palette for their splash and poster work. Baldur's Gate 3 comes to mind. When building key poster art, try and pick complementary colors for a composition that's easy to draw the eye and interesting to look at. There are plenty others besides blue and orange, but just put it on a color wheel, you'll figure it out for yourself. Now, for the box itself, for me personally, I've been inspired by so many old games, and I wanted to emulate my predecessors purely out of love for what we used to have in games. So I wanted a big, classic-looking PC box. I actually used my box for Age of Empires as the primary inspiration, but I also used a handful of other box sizes that I own to get proper measurements for secondary boxes. It's good to have adaptable box artwork because when I contacted a manufacturer, I wanted to make a shout out for the small manufacturer that I worked with, but his business seems to have disappeared, so I'm not sure if he's rebranding or anything at the moment. If he resurfaces or I get back in touch, I'll link him below for anyone who wants to follow in my footsteps and give this guy some business, because he did a pretty good job. I'll also put a link to my template for designing a 9 by 11.346 inch times 1.8 inch box, which was I wouldn't say the standard, but there were a lot of boxes in the 90s for video games that use this size, so it's also very easily adaptable. Anyway, so here is the box I created. I chose a deep, rich purple to complement the golden title text I really like. I wanted to keep the design simple as well, to reflect the collector's value of the box. I'm more of a fan of simplistic textures rather than over-the-top bombastic designs, similar to things like the Elder Scrolls cover arts, if that rings a bell. On the back of the box, I tease a lot of the game's mystery and atmosphere, as well as some of the features. I really wanted to evoke the sense that someone would be interested enough to buy this off a shelf if they came across it on one. So what does this box copy all include? In short, the full game, plus a Steam key, because I know a lot of people don't have disk drives anymore, the original soundtrack in disc format, the manual, and a custom tarot card deck. The soundtrack is also already fully designed, and it varies from the cover art and poster design quite a bit. Since the OST is about shaping the atmosphere and giving character to the world, I decided to drop in some of the game's landscape concept art to remind the listener that they're hearing the sounds of Dremid'ir, and not just the story and characters in the game, but the world itself. But what about the tarot deck? What's that all about? Since this is a collector's box, I wanted more punch in there, and I was inspired primarily actually by Fallout New Vegas's playing cards that shipped with its early custom editions. A full playing card deck was a lot of work, so I opted for a tarot card deck, which seemed to lend itself to the fantasy side of things more. Anyway, this is a deck of the major arcana, by the way, 22 cards. And so there you have it. What my games box is and all about, and how I went about making it. What special items would you include in your games collector's box? Let me know. And if you're interested in playing Odyssey, you can play the demo on Steam right now. If you're interested in owning one of these beautiful collector's boxes, we'll be selling them at cons next year in Wisconsin, Illinois, and hopefully Minnesota. You can keep up with my schedule when I post about it down the line early next year in my Discord. I will also probably be posting Steam articles, and lately I've actually been posting to IndieDB. I used to post a lot to ModDB back when I was doing a lot of modding, so it's kind of a little nostalgic going back to my roots. I'll probably write a lot more articles there. It's really easy and I think it's really fun. And I like those guys over at Indie ModDB. They're really nice. They've always been really nice to me. So I want to keep giving them content to work with. So until we meet again, farewell.